and welcome to the SIWES Defense Orientation brought to you by SEAS and IEEE Unilag. I'm Anya Hara Estafivo and I'll be guiding you through today's session. So, from the publicity, the question is SIWES is over, what's next? Personally, I believe majority of us here just concluded their SIWES, or some are like me that will be going on the journey soon. I think April is our SIWES. So don't worry, we have you all covered. We got some amazing speakers lined up today, and they are here to actually share tips on how you can nail your defense and give you a little push towards defending your whole 6 months, basically. And since we don't want to waste much of your time, we're going to jump right into our panel session. I think all the speakers are actually here, so that's very great. We'll be talking about everything from acing your serious defense to what's next in your academic or either your career journey. So I would indulge you all to please listen closely. There is a lot of gold and delicious goodness. I like food, so yeah, in these conversations. And don't worry, there's going to be a question and answer session. So all you need to do is write down any questions you have and sit back and enjoy the ride. So, allow me to introduce the people that will be speaking to us today. We have our moderator in person of Mr. Olumese Favor. We have the panelists, Mr. Otto Enwelum, Mr. Delight Patrick, Mr. Okeke Ebube Joshua, Mr. Udoka Franklin, and Mr. Toby Olusoya. So we can just drop a reaction if we're excited. And yeah, I'll hand over to the moderator for the events, Mr. Favor.
Hello, good day, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful day, and I hope our holiday has been great. So once again, welcome everyone. So yeah, before I go on, I would love someone to thank you so much, Michael. I'd love someone to just tell me how their SIWES have been so far. Can someone volunteer to tell me how their SIWES program has been? I believe everyone has ended before we start the panel section. Nobody? I can see Hafiz, I can see I guess we'll just start our panel section. Okay, once again, let me make welcome our speakers. So we have with us Otto, we have with us Delight, we have with us OKK, we have with us Franklin. So before we begin asking questions, before we begin asking questions, I would love our speakers to tell us more on their SIWES journey, what it entailed, and what they had to do during that period. So I'm going to be starting with Otto. Otto, the floor is yours.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, all right. So for me, I interned at Chevron Nigeria Limited. I was in the networking team. So our team was basically in charge of managing all the telecommunication infrastructure. You understand? So I worked with them for 6 months. So during my SIWES period, I was able to get a lot of experience actually in networking, telecommunication, but more of networking. But one thing I was able to do, that helped me during my defense was to take a lot of pictures. You understand? So I took a lot of pictures while at work, took a lot of pictures of the equipment, and everything. And then I was able to ask a lot of questions, you understand? And then I even took a course while working to, supplement the knowledge that I had. So, and then for the defense. So, first of all, I would just like to say that you should not be scared. And I would have loved to share my screen. Okay, so I think, can I share my screen?
Yes, you can.
Yes,
You should be able
yes.
to.
Okay, all right. So let me just do that. Okay, so can you see this?
Definitely.
Hello. All right.
Yes, we
Okay.
Yes,
can.
yes.
Okay. So not so just to speak briefly on this. So first of all, at work we already had a lot of presentations. You understand? So I was very familiar with presentations. So there was no, I wasn't scared or stage fright. So my first advice is, if you're not familiar with presentations, try to present in front of your guys. You understand? Just do like a lot of demo presentations. You understand? So that you'd be able to get the confidence that is required, boldness and everything. But then, and then, yes, so I did a lot of presentations in the office. So let me just go through this briefly. So, first of all, try to make your presentation to, like, try to make it less wordy. Do you understand? So, if you fill it up with more pictures than words, so let me just go through this so that we'll be able to see. So, company profile, yes, okay. So I don't know. I think you should have seen this. There's this, what they used to, the criteria that they used to mark us during our time, that had the summary of work experience, linkage of work to theory,
No, we haven't.
linkage to future work, professional experience, for professional knowledge gained, and your presentation skills. So related to electrical networking is very much related to electrical. So even if you did electrical, there's good to link it up. So if you can just go through the course contents, what's it called, that course outline, you'd see that there's, you can just find a way to just maneuver to just link it to electrical. Is not difficult. But yes, so for the summary of your work experience, you are trying to show them more pictures than words. So for this, you'll be speaking more to it. You understand? And just try as much as possible to, whatever you are showing them has to be something that you are very familiar with, because you're going to be asked a lot of questions. So is, don't put something you cannot defend. Yes. So this was what I did. So this is the part that I want to talk about more, relating it to coursework. So while, yes, so another thing I did that helped me was, during my last presentation in Chevron, I was able to uh, get the relevance of everything I did, to elect. You understand? So I was able to, uh, s- as it were, show the linkage, do you understand, between everything I did to the courses that I had learned in school. And it was very helpful it was very helpful during my presentation at Chevron. And it also helped me while preparing this slide, because I didn't need to think too much. You understand? So, as I said earlier, there are a lot of, you can always link what you did, do you understand, to courses that you've taken in school. In fact, I think I had to just try to squeeze, because there were a lot of courses. You understand? So because that's also, so they are very particular about it being, although that also depends on your panel too. So there are things that are not in your hands. which has to do with your panel, the lecturers there's lecturers that will be in your panel. You understand? So those things are not in your hands. But then for uh preparation, everything, you understand? That's what's in your hands. So that you have to do very, very, very well. You understand? Ensure you are very prepared. And you get ensure that you fight every bit. And then yes, so you'll be given 5 minutes to do all of this. So don't tell them too much story. They are very, very they are learned people. So they actually know they know, well, not all of them, but then they know what you are coming to say. Do you understand? So you are not lecturing them. Do you get? You are telling them that, oh, okay, this is what I did. Do you understand? This is how I was able to apply it. Yeah, and this how what I was able to learn in school was able to be applied here. And then again, if you have any sorry, I think I've taken too much of my time. Okay, let me just round up. Then again, if you have any certification, if you're able to get any certification, it's also a good thing to put out there. You understand? So yes, and then yes, to future studies as well. You should have your prospectus where you see the courses that you're taking in 500 level. You understand? You see the course outline. You understand? So you just look for those courses that relate to what you did while in IT. That's basically that about this part. Challenges, conclusion. Okay. That's all. Yes, so I'll stop sharing my screen now. So I just wanted to just give a brief overview of how that works.
Excuse me.
So yes,
Your screen was
I'm
not
with you.
showing before. I mean,
My screen was not showing.
Okay, actually, it was
yes.
showing. I think it might have been your internet. Just
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, let me do that again. Sorry, can you see it?
want you to be around so that we'll ask you more questions as the section goes on. And
Okay, no problem.
is it possible for you you to send us your slides?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you so much. So next on our panel will be the lights Patrick.
Hello, am I audible enough?
Yes, yes you are.
Okay, okay. So, good evening, everyone. Hello, my name is Delight, and yeah. I did my CWS at the Transmission Company of Nigeria at Egbe, that's Egbe Ikorodu. Yeah. So, um, my experience there was exciting because like, okay, let me start like this. The first thing to me about CWS is like to choose a company now or like pick a company in which the industry is pertaining to what you want to do. Like we all know, like electrical engineering now is split into different specializations. Some are some opt for power, some electronics, some communications, and so on. Some machines like generators and all. So the first thing is to pick like company that you are very interested in and you feel has more ties to what you want to do in the future. So I chose Transmission Company of Nigeria because of I have always been a power guy. So yeah, I love power a lot. So then after picking your company, the next thing to do is okay, I'm going to split the remaining section of my talk between two. I'm going to split it into like preparation for the defense and the actual defense in itself. So in preparing for the defense, the first thing you should know is um the first thing you should know is your company and what they do. in the sense that you don't want them to ask you a question about like the basics of your company and you cannot answer that. Like that's really bad. So the first thing you should know is like what the company you are in, what they do, like the nitty gritty itself of what the company is all about. So that first. Then the second part about the preparation for the defense is your reports and your presentation slides because those two pieces of documents, they are important to how your final grade will turn out. So your reports basically is there's a standard format for it. I think it should have been shared to you guys. There's a standard format for how the report should look like. Your the content of the reports, make it standard, and you can get past seniors like examples of their reports. Then your presentation slide, your presentation slide, it should not be a lot. It should be like 10 to 12 slides because the actual length of the time that sorry, the length of the time we are going to get on that is going to be like 5 to 7 minutes, I think. Mostly five, or less. Some even get less. So depending on the panelists. So you should have slides, bullet points, and as Otto said earlier, it contain more of pictures. Then I should add like pictures of you at work too, because like for it to be more credible, for them to believe you more, they have to see like evidence that you actually there at the company. So like if you can, depending on where you work. So if you can put pictures of where we're working there also here. Then after preparing the slide, then you have to like practice to get familiar with your slides and again on the presentation, the part two of what I said, like the first day. There are marks for appearance and presentation style. As I said, you should like practice your presentation material so your presentation style will be smooth and you don't be stammering. So yeah. Then in addition to what Otta has said earlier, the presentation the defense is the marks are organized into like there are specific like places which they give marks. It's not just they don't just allocate marks like based on their own perception of things. Like there are marks for summary of work experience, like on the slide, like make like people at times like students tend to overdo their slides. They include many things that don't really matter and don't really marks are not really attached to them. Like the introduction to your company should not be more than one slide. According to like from my own perspective, it should not be more than one slide because they don't really care too much about your company in itself. They care about what you gained while working at the company. So your introduction should not be more than 30 seconds about the company. What some students tend to go on and on and on about the company and leaving the important stuff like summary of work experience, the skills gained, relevance to your relevance to your academic discipline, like what you've done before, and relevance to future your future academics, like what you do in final year. So those stuffs are really, really, really important here. So then composure too for your questions. Although I know some questions can be intimidating, but answer it to the best of your knowledge. Don't make up stuff. And another key thing I want to say is any key okay, how can I put it? Any important like technical term, any important like make sure you know above the layman understanding of it. Yeah. Like now, I worked in transmission company of Nigeria. We maintained big like large transmission transformers, like big transformers now. So I had to know how to have an in-depth knowledge of how transformers work and the reason for the maintenance. Why do we maintain them? How do we maintain them? Like those kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, is this key these key terms, or like how will I put it, that they want to test you on. Like they want to make sure that you actually did the did the CWES. So in summary of what I'm trying to say is like just be very knowledgeable on what you did. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Delight. Thank you so much. So our next speaker would be it would be Joshua. Okay, it will be Joshua.
Hello everyone, good evening. Is
Yeah,
my
good
audio
evening.
clear?
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you to the people and for everyone that's here. I would like to just pivot a little bit because Arthur and Delight, they've spoken extensively about your defense, your preparation for your defense, right? So I think, I don't know if this call is being recorded, but I think especially the slide that Arthur presented, I think it's very key just to go over the education. It's going to be a couple of months for those defending and for those who haven't started at all. It'll be maybe up to a year before it will be relevant to them. All right, so but for me, I would like to talk a little bit about the IT experience itself. So it's a 6 month experience, as you all know. And I'm a computer engineering, like a recent graduate. And for me, right, if you're a computer engineering major, it might look a little bit, it's going to be a little bit different, right? So, for example, for electrical engineering majors, they are it's kind of a little bit specific. So, you're either working in a transmission company or maybe an electronics company or stuff like that. But if you're a computer engineering student, uh, because of your course of study, your place of work might vary a lot. So, the application itself might be kind of all over the place. So you most likely, except you already have somewhere you want to go, right? So your application might have to be you just have to apply to different places, right? So it could be an IT company, it could be Chevron, it could be just a normal software company. It could also be a startup, right? So just make sure that it's something that aligns to what you're doing, right? So because a lot of us now in computer engineering, we are basically we are basically software engineers. A lot of people are basically software engineers, right? So maybe you're doing web development or you're building software or whatever it is, right? So you have to look for a company that you think to the best of your ability, except you already know someone working there, to the best of your ability that does something that at least you would enjoy doing because trust me, it's 6 months. So at least the least you can at least try to achieve for yourself, since the pay always is not always that high, right? You at least try to look for somewhere that something that you enjoy doing for the 6 months, just to make it worthwhile. That's for because for me, I worked at a company called Sophia ERP, an ERP enterprise software development company, right? It's not a very big company, so just a small, like modest company, but they've been around for a long time. And what I did basically, I would say I was basically a full stack developer. So I just basically did front end, back end, basically. So if you're working in a company like I did, so I would try to like talk about my own experience, right? So it won't apply to everyone, but let me just speak to myself. So or speak about my experience rather. So if you're working in a company where I work in, you're very likely to be overloaded with work. So especially if it's a small company that has a lot on their hands. So like I said, try and make sure um, it's something that at least you're not you're not getting introduced to the field just so that the learning curve will not be that bad for you. So for example, and then if I want to speak to my previous experience, right? So IT is basically supposed to be about practical, okay, what you learned over the years. But since in computer engineering for year 2, basically, let me start from year 2 because that's actually when you start in the department. You have like introduction to electrical engineering, where you do all the laws and stuff like that. So basically, your year two, what I'm trying to say, your year two basically is electrical engineering, introduction to the field, right? So I'm talking about as a computer engineer right now. So your year three, you get to start introducing yourself to, you know, some computer engineering, courses. Mostly it's done like what do you call it now? It's done I believe computer programming, just introduction here or there. So most of what you do at work, if you're a developer, right, is your personal experience. So like my front end, back end, my resume was purely based on skills that I was picking up while I was learning. So it was nothing related to what I learned in school, right? That I'm just being honest right now. And of course, when you're doing your defense, you will still have to find some way somehow to make it, because that's the whole point. But like in reality, right? I'm like I said, I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm speaking for myself. But I also believe that a tangible amount of people. In reality, you're going to be doing things that you didn't learn in school, in class, officially, right? So hopefully, because of the old tech trend, most people are picking up skills, watching YouTube videos, taking courses. So I wouldn't be surprised if most of the guys here that are computer engineering students already have some programming skills outside of what they are being taught by either Engineer Mohammed or Dr. Moy or whoever is teaching you guys now. So yeah, so basically, uh, I was heavily used, right? So I had a lot of work on my hands. So I worked from Monday to even from Saturdays, right? So and while since it's a small company, you can renegotiate, or rather, depending on your work, right? They can renegotiate your pay. So that's basically the difference in the between, for me, I think between like a small company and a more established company. So the more workload you're taking upon yourself, they can increase your salary, but don't be surprised, like it's not something major, right? So again, I'm trying to speak to the actual IT experience. So for your defense and for the preparation of the defense, I believe Patrick and Arthur have they've exhausted exhaustively like spoken about that, and I believe the upcoming speakers will also do so. But I want to try and speak to the defense itself, because for some people it's a little bit surprising and off-putting, right? So you might just want to prepare yourself for it. Perhaps I'm speaking more to those that are yet to go for the IT. So so yeah, so basically I was building websites, building some software, and it took me like first in my first month, I just kind of did a project just to kind of get up to speed, right? So that was my first month. I started from um let me say February to like August. So my first month, they just gave me a project to work on that was just kind of to get my feet in the water. And then from the second month, I started working on official, like real life projects. So I started working on apps that the team was working on. So it was a lot of work, like I said, because there are not enough people they are trying to make money, so they are taking on more jobs than probably they are able to execute. It's like there's a lot of pressure. But I believe at the end of the day, right? So at the end of the day, you're going to be better for it if you go that route. So there are different routes basically. You can either look for a place that is chilled, probably you come once, twice, or four times in a week, you know, you just enjoy yourself, and then personally maybe you have some things on your own personal table that you're working on. That's part of like that's one way. The other way is basically those are like working in kind of big companies, it's relatively chill, it's a lot of work, but like it's still chill because like they try to give you a good working experience and they know you're just getting into it. And then finally, I think the last way is basically the one I did, which was basically like just work throughout the day. So yeah, so I think in summary, what I was trying to my aim basically was to speak about what it's like to look for a company and to work actually for the 6 months, how tangible the experience is, and basically, if you're looking for a company, just try and just spread your net basically. Just apply. except for those who already have somewhere or they already have a referral, that's different. But if there's someone that you don't know where of you're going to work at yet, just apply in different places. For example, where I work at, the official when they sent the link on my group chat, they said it was VI, and I stay somewhere at Magudu. So I in my mind I was like, let me just apply because there's no way I'm going to be going to the island to go and work. So, but at the end of the day, when I did the interview and stuff, it was they actually had an office that was close to my house, and like that was really nice for me because the salary was not even going to carry me to be doing transport and taking care of myself. So like I was really happy. So don't make any assumptions. Like don't put anything off the table and say, okay, this place I don't like this place. No, 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 no. Just make sure you apply, do as much interviews as possible. At least have options that you cannot take offers from. You get so and then when you get to work, it might be a little bit different. Try and ask actually. Try and ask what the work experience there is like. Because for me, where I worked at, I didn't know anyone there. I didn't like. So if someone actually told me beforehand, I probably wouldn't have taken the offer because like there was a lot of work actually. But in retrospect, it was probably a good thing because I have to work a lot. I have to adapt in a kind of tense environment where there was a lot to get done. I had to look for how to basically like get things done. And another thing is you might actually let me just mention this one as a side note. For if you're working in a small company, you're probably it's very likely that most of these IT tech companies that they call themselves now, they will employ you to be a teacher. So some of them have academies that they are teaching maybe young students or basically young people or how to code. So I'm speaking to those already that are already experienced in coding and stuff. So like you might be surprised that they will tell you to come and teach. That one is another one that you just prepare your head for. So just in case. So I'm trying to prepare you guys so that you will not hear something that is brand new. Uh so yeah, so I think that was my experience. Talking about the defense, since I think I'm the first concerned engineering guy to speak. So just talking about the defense, like I said, mostly of what Arthur and Patrick have said. But probably what I'll add to it because I'm the computer engineering guy, and most of the time, like what I did and what I did at my workplace, to be honest, they don't even correlate. So what I do, right, depending on your panel, God bless me with a good panel. So there are a lot of computer engineering, there are a lot of like tech uh, tech guys in my panel so that they were kind of modernized to okay understand that okay I was building an app, database, all those kind of funny English. But if you're not fortunate enough, all you need to do is just try and prepare and just try and link it somehow. You guys will do it together, so don't be scared. Like you shall figure it out. So but just try and link it, add pictures to what is done, like Sato said, and speak with your supervisor, and then just try and link it somehow, sha, because it's not going to be easy, to be honest. So, except you work at maybe you're working at Chevron and stuff like that, but like you're working purely like a developer. First of all, they will tell you that you're an engineer, not a developer. How are you? What is the design? What are you engineering there? So, questions like that, just prepare for it so that you will be kind of standing. And then the presentation is going to be short. Most likely you're going to over prepare, but it's good to over prepare. So for me, the official time was supposed to be 15 minutes. I was a little bit at the bottom of the list, so I think I was the second to the last second ish. They just give me like 3 minutes. So the official time, like Patrick said, will be 5 to 7 minutes. For those that are starting, they will take up to like 10 to 15 minutes because everybody will go the floor. So everything is different. But official time, most when the time has settled, maybe into 10, 11, 12 p.m., it's basically 5 minutes. Go over your slide. They will ask you questions for those who know what they're talking about, uh, uh, and then they will just tell you to just go on. So don't panic. It's not going to be as long as you think, but try and over prepare for it just in case you're not in a good panel or just in case something of happens. So I think that's all from me. If there's any questions, I think there's the Q&A section. So I should be around for that for me. But I think if you have any questions, the guys that are going to speak would probably answer the questions you already have. So yeah, thank you very much, and I wish you guys the best.
Thank you so much. Okay, okay. Thanks so much, Joshua. So you told us to apply as much as possible. That is for our common intent, and we should over prepare. Thank you so much. So on to the next. We'll be having Franklin speak to us next. Franklin speak to us. He's also from Elect. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Franklin.
Good evening, everyone. Just
Yeah,
to
good
quickly, I
evening.
hope everyone can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Okay. Um, Sorry for the delay. Uh, if we hand Arthur and Patrick, they have really said a lot of things. They have given a lot of insight into how uh, the COS should go. And I'll just be here to say a few things from what I know and take all of your questions. So, if you are in 500 now, or if you're entering 500, this first part of what I'm going to say is not really going to be of much use to you because you have finished your COS already. But for those just going to 400 level who are yet to start their COS, who are about to start, who are looking for companies, who are making a lot of queries and insights, I should add that it's very important that you choose what you like. When I say you choose what you like, I mean you're an electrical, you want to do IT, and you're like, I haven't found a place. Let me just do it here. Let me just do it there. Yeah, you can do that. Or they're paying 1,000 here, they're paying 5,000 here. You can do all of that, but I'd advise that you really choose what you like and what aligns with your career goals, what plans you set for yourself. Because it's going to be a very long time. We're talking about maybe 6 months. Our time was way more than 6 months. Could extend to seven, eight, nine. You don't want to be stuck doing what you don't like or what you're no longer interested in, or what's not going to really align with your future career path. So it's really important that you take out the time. In fact, from now, you should have already started searching for places that align with who you are and what you really love doing. That's my first bit. I thought I should point that out. Then let's assume you've started your internship, you finished your internship, you are proud, you are happy, you've learned, you've done all your stuff. It's important that you should actually do your stuff. Don't wait for last minute. Although I know a lot of people will still wait for last minute, but don't wait for last minute. Trying to finish off your logbook, your reports, all of that stuff are the basics. Yeah, you know that you should do that. So I'm not just going to gloss over that. But I should also add that your slides, like Otto has been mentioned and hammering, your slides are really important for your COS defense. You want to take out time, you want to make your slides, you want to make them very short, simple, effective, and with a lot of pictures. Short, simple, effective. Don't put words there. Don't make it look so bulky. Just short. Okay, I think I could probably share my screen so I could see what my slides look like. Also didn't mention I did my internship at University of Lagos Power Sector. Uh, everybody, most of you guys are in lag, so I'd like to see a lot of times that there's no lights in Zulu, there's no lights in science, all of that stuff. There's no lights in engineering. Where my team, the team in charge of power, we're in charge of fixing all of that, routine inspection, fixing underground explosions, cables, going to different sectors, departments, faculties to rectify all their power issues. Kind of like I think Patrick said he intended at Egbin or something. I'm not so sure about a transmission company. So I just kind of like the transmission company for Unilag. So yeah, Unilag works. All of you that did internship at Unilag works. I did my internship there as well. And it was really exciting. You had to go up. I mean, yeah, it's fun. You run up and down and stuff. Sometimes you run away too. A lot of people ran away. I did that. So I ran away sometimes. I didn't want. But yeah, yeah, it was fun. I really actually learned a lot of things there. When I went to work, I was like, should I do this? Again, like I said, choose what aligns with your goal. Yeah, I do like power. I enjoy doing power. I enjoy power stuff. But I chose that because it also gave me the liberty and the time to do what I also really liked by the side. Because I didn't get an internship and programming things I really like doing, I was like, okay, I could do power. I like power as well. It's not really bad. I love power. I like to know more about it. while I could now have time on the side to also further things I was doing, things I was learning, things I was learning as well. So yeah, really choose what aligns. Don't do what others are doing. Do what aligns with your goal. Always keep your goal in mind, what you really want to be, what you want to do. So I'm going to just briefly show you guys what my slide look like. It's not the best, but maybe just to explain what I'm talking about when I see a slide should be really brief. I don't think if I could even, let me see if I can share my screen. Yeah, so can you guys see my screen now? Just any reactions will be fine. All right, awesome. So again, very simple. Explain what you are doing. Nothing so much, just put a small table of content. Again, like Patrick said, your company, one page, all of this stuff. You don't waste time on all of this stuff. Just yeah, you need it, but don't waste time on it. So you can see the summary of my work experience, basics of power distribution, basics of transformers, standard protocols when dealing with high voltages. So simple shots, use shapes, use diagrams, use images. You can see there's a transformer there. Not you do your internship at a place, you did your power and there are no pictures of what you did. The switch fuse is me fixing, show yourself working. These are inspections, but a lot of images will help you. And like Otto said, linkage to work to theory, that courses I did that helped me for my internship. And these are also future courses that will help me. You can see it's very simple, short, what I learned, and that was all. My slide was not really bulky because if your slide is really bulky, you're going to waste a lot of time and you just keep talking. You keep trying to read out all of your slides. You'll be saying, oh, my, this, my, then they can just cut you short and tell your time is up, your 5 minutes is up. That kind of disorients you a lot and it can just throw you off because immediately after your time is up, they want to start attacking you with questions. So you might not have even gotten to the serious part of what you did. You're still trying to talk, and they just cut you short and target you with questions. So keep your slides very short and concise because you might enjoy your internship, might be the best student, but your defense might just mess you up. Honestly, it can just go wrong, and you don't want that to happen because it really affects your grade. Like it is the only course that semester. You really don't want to mess that up. So you should pay serious attention to your slides and your defense. Don't what's the word? Don't stutter when you're defending. You just want to be simple. You just want to go in. Make sure you have a lot of practice. If you don't have, I'm saying this because I don't know it comes natural to me, but make sure you practice your defense with people and allow them to hit you with questions. Even if you ran away at your work, you didn't do whatever you're supposed to do, you fugazied your IT or whatever, no problem. But when it's time for the defense, learn what you did. They are going to ask you. There's going to be someone there that's going to fire you and ask you, what is this and that? Someone is going to have an idea of what you did and they're going to ask you. And if your knowledge is really scanty, it's going to be really bad for you if you don't really have an in-depth understanding of what you did. I'm seeing someone messaged me about the slide. I'm just going to leave my slide here and the comments. So that's by the way. Then what else can I tell you guys? I think your defense, your slides, then they're going to ask you questions. Okay, I did my internship at Works, and the people that did at Works, they were always asking specific in-depth questions because a lot of our lecturers have high knowledge of power. And I think Dr. Alayande was part of my panel. So he asked me a very specific question that how do you conduct a thumping test and when do you know when there is a fault? And that question was very specific. If you are not really serious with your internship, this is not something you can just know. It's not something you can just gloss over if you don't read it. So if you have fugazied your internship, no problem. But go and meet people that did not. Ask important questions. You have to actually know something because if you don't answer those questions, it might be really difficult for you. And again, you don't just bank on I'll be lucky. Just do a bit of work. That's what I'm saying. I believe that if your defense is soft, your grades will be very good. Submit your logbook, have a good report, have a good presentation, and it's going to be very easy for you. But ensure, above all, that whatever you're doing is what you really want to do or what lets you do what you want to do. Don't do what others are doing. Do what works for you, not what works for everyone. Yeah, I think that's more than enough. You should be fine with that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Franklin. We Thank you so much, Franklin. So we also have another speaker. Thank you so much, Franklin. Thank you so much. Just
Am I allowed to go on?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. So my name is Toby. I also finished from computer engineering, same as Ebube. And what I had in mind to say actually resonates very much with what Franklin and Ebube have rightly pointed out. And this is actually very good for those that have not done their IT yet, because whatever you choose to do, I would advise that it should align with what you want to do in the future, and that is very important. And that is kind of what I did as well, because I had you know as computer engineering students, we do have like specific companies that we can just go, maybe like a power company or a transmission company, for example. Um, so my own goal back then, and I'll try as much as possible to dig into my memory here. So my own goal back then was to, just keep upskilling basically. I wanted to keep upskilling in front end and back end development because that is essentially what I knew I was going to be doing after school. And I had two options on the table. One was, MTN, and I had the opportunity, or I took some time to visit the office somewhere around Costain, and I saw the way the office was, and I did not really want a process whereby a workflow whereby it would impede my own personal learning experience, right? What I do personally, and I knew, because of the restrictions with the work time, the work hours, when you have to get to the office, I had to change my mind, and I ended up doing my IT at NITOB. And I know many of you might already know what NITOB does. So NITOB does mostly, research in AI, software development, and some hardware stuff like 3D printing. And it's mostly students like, you guys, it's mostly students like you that work at NITOB, right? And basically what I did here was I had the opportunity to choose what I wanted to do, basically. So I just, came up with an idea or a problem, and I worked on it on my own. And so it was just a full stack application, basically, front end, back end. And I was reporting to the director by myself, and I was creating these tasks to do to finish the project by myself. So, um, filling the logbook and doing all those things were basically done at my own pace. So that was what made NITOB a very good choice for me. In fact, I had like this, lengthy discussion with my friend, and we are talking about how, medium term goals, long term goals, are very important when it comes to, selecting or choosing what you want to do in the moment, right? For IT. And just whatever I wanted to do after school was more important at that point. So I did it at NITOB, and yeah, that was basically how the workflow went. There was no pay, and at the same time, I was able to use the extra time I had then because I had control of my time. I was able to use it to work on some other projects with some other teams outside of NITOB as well, like some startup. And the goal there too was to also, make some money on the side. You get so my advice is to, when you're selecting where you want to work for IT, my advice is to make sure it aligns with your future goals because eventually most of the things you learn in the classroom might not seem very relevant. Set a few courses, especially for the computer engineering students. Like you still do some software development technique, um, some software, what was this called? Yeah, software engineering as well. So you still find some relevant courses in year five for those of you that are going to year five. So, like I said, that's actually very important. And what next? Okay, for preparation for the defense, I would say you guys should, lighten up. I don't think anyone is going to fail the defense, so you guys should, lighten up. And it's very important that you know how to find a way to link whatever you did at work in your IT, to any coursework you'll be doing both in the future and what the courses you've done past as well. Sorry, did someone say something?
No, no, not at
No,
all.
not at all.
Okay, so it's very important that you'll be able to link it. Just find a way to, oh, and like Franklin said, even if you fugazi your IT at some point, because I'll be brutally honest. Myself, I had to come up with, things to write in my logbook, and there were some days where I just didn't do anything at work. And I just told ChatGPT, see, this is what I've done till now. Just help me come up with whatever I want to write in my logbook for the next 2 weeks. And that was basically what I used. But during your defense, during your defense, just make sure you have a way to link it to your coursework and don't spend too much time on talking about the company itself. Make sure you go straight to the summary of the work experience, and your presentation style is very important. How your slides basically must be very presentable. Use concise bullet points and be ready to answer questions. And one thing I wanted to mention basically is while you are defending, right, your panelists will be looking at your report at the same time. So make sure everything you've put in your report, you've gone through it and you have it in your head at that point when you're defending. And make sure you understand everything. So I remember after talking about everything I did at work, and there was something I mentioned in my slide, and you know, Dr. Ogboy was my panelist, was a panelist, back then, and he basically just asked a question that was totally unrelated to what I did at work, right? And it was about something I did probably 300 level. So at that point, it got very tricky, yet, and there was some argument. So another thing, try not to argue with the panelists because the assumption is they know way more than you do. They have more experience. Even if you're right, don't argue with them, basically. And it can also get very tricky for computer engineering students because most times you can, or you might find yourself in with panelists that are not even they don't have deep understanding of how you know basically software engineering works. Maybe computer engineering, yes, but if you've basically done your IT as a software engineer somewhere and you find yourself in that kind of situation, it can get very tricky. And just make sure you can find a way to link it to your coursework, basically, and be ready to answer questions, right? And what else? Don't argue with them. And okay, be ready to also talk about the challenges faced and suggest suggestions. So I spoke to before the IT and even after. I had this discussion with Dr. Ipodekunle because he's the IT coordinator, right? And I got to understand the essence of the IT itself. It's not just to go and work. and come back to impress the panelists. The main essence is to, it's basically to go and it's like going to going on a mission basically. Go to these companies, see how it is, see how things are being done in the industry currently. And the main reason is to be able to come back and talk about the challenges faced and suggest ways that whatever you learned in the industry will improve on the course. But it's just so unfortunate that that is not what that is basically not the kind of vibe the panelists will give. They would basically just want to roast you. And some of them they don't it's more like they don't have the time to just sit down and listen to everybody. So they might end up rushing you when you are defending. So just keep in mind that just try to do your best, and once you've done your best, you defend, do what you can do, and leave the rest will be fine, and you won't fail. Except during your IT, you just basically didn't do anything, and you did not make any efforts to try to cook up something that is related to some relevant work experience. You might not pass like everyone else will. So that's what I have to say. If you guys have any questions, I'm still around. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Oluwatobi. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to all our panelists for. So, onto our Q&A session. If you have any question, you can ask on the group chat. So we'll be asking them some detailed questions. Okay. 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 Someone just asked, is it possible to carry over IT? Okay. I'm going to Franklin. Can you answer that for us? Is it possible to carry over IT?
To the best of my knowledge, I can't tell you no, but very, very unlikely. The case is that I don't think any lecturer or even your supervisor would allow you to be failed in quote like F. That's what carry over means. However, some of us are very prone to using our own hand to fuck things up. So I advise you don't get yourself into any nasty situations. Like Toby said, do not argue with your lecturers, don't shout. If they tell you are wrong, accept. I know someone which is very hard for a lot of people. But accept whatever they say. Just you won't fail. It is a go there, probably get roasted or not. Most times they want to roast you, want to pull tricks on you, want to find gaps in your knowledge. Well, I don't think you would fail in quote. No. However, you may not get an A. The goal is will you get an A? I think that's the more appropriate question. I think anything that's not an A is what I consider to be a fail in COS. So if you don't get an A, it's like you were upped or something went wrong, you most likely get an A unless something goes wrong.
Thank you so much, Franklin. So I'll be asking the lights the next question. So one question I would love to know is like, what is the maximum or minimum amount of pages? Like our technical report, what's the maximum or minimum we should make our technical report be? Because some people have complained like, oh, they've seen a report that is about 70 pages. Do we have to make it that long? What's the maximum and what's the minimum? Patrick?
I think he left the call. I'm not sure he's still on the call, but we can talk.
Let me just answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I would say from experience, you should just try to make it. There's no minimum or maximum basically, but just make sure that whatever is your report is, you just put the relevant. I have a particular template. I'll try and find it, then I'll send it to you guys, right? And the average page I've seen is basically like from 41 to 51 pages. And to be honest, it doesn't need to be more than that, except you went to do your IT at 7 different companies. I don't know. but aim for an average of 41 to 50 pages. With that, you should be fine.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, the next question I will be asking Joshua. So now,
Sorry, favor. Sorry to cut you
okay,
short. Author is also on the call. I just wanted you to note that.
okay, okay. Thank you so much. So the next question I'll be asking Joshua. So, do we still need to visit ITF? Okay, now we have the first thing we have done would be to visit ITF at the commencement of our SIWES to submit uh, our SCAP form. So now there's a last page on our logbook. Do we need to visit the ITF office to sign that? Is it necessary? Thank you.
Um, yeah, short answer is yes. So you have to go to, I believe you're talking about the last page of the logbook. So if that's the case, for me, I did everything once. So I think you're supposed to come at different times. I think you're supposed to come when you started, when you ended. I can't really remember the whole procedure. But what I did, right, I just went there toward the end of my IT. I think when I was even done, and then they just did everything. Your ITF placement, your location also determines, right? So some of them are chilled, some of them are not so chilled. So yeah, so the short answer is yes. You have to just go and meet them. I think they will sign our stamp to show that ITF, uh, just to satisfy the requirements basically. So yeah, you need to go to ITF. I think they release official, like where you're supposed to, the ITF office closest to your workplace. So that's where you're supposed to go to, right? So and then you just kind of meet them, give them the documents and everything. They just sign everything there. For you can go at different times, but for me, I went for and just did everything at the same time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the next question will be for Otto. Okay, now on our logbook, we have a place for either drawing, sketching, or putting pictures. So now, let's say myself now, based on what I did, pictures will work compared to sketching. Does it work that way, or do they prefer, do our supervisors prefer we sketching what we have done, or would uh, photocopying, or how I put it, printing pictures and pasting it there? Does that work? Thank you.
Okay. So for that question, well, to be honest, it's not. I feel like if you can draw, do you understand? You know, draw and then paste as well. You understand? So it's not a okay, for me, I drew like 80%. Do you understand? And then there were places where um I also printed and then pasted it there. But there's some equipment that you will not be able to draw. Okay, well, it's not everyone that worked with physical equipment and everything, but it's just usually more advisable to draw. You know how our lecturers think. You understand? They don't is how will I put it now? There's still this traditional uh mentality that they uphold. You understand? So some people would actually just prefer that. Some lecturers actually just prefer a logbook that the pictures were drawn, so a logbook that the pictures were mostly. So I'm not saying that you should not.
Can anyone hear Otto?
Although I think you were
No, I
breaking, you
can't.
said breaking acts. I'm not saying you should not. I couldn't hear you from there, and we still can't hear you
Okay,
now.
okay. I think Franklin raised up his hand. I think Franklin should come in. I don't know.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what he was saying when he was done. I don't know if he's done now, but just to add to that, I know that a lot of you, not some, a lot, and I'm a culprit myself, are very lazy to draw. Otto is a bad guy. Me, I'm not a bad guy. So if you are not going to draw, or you are very lazy or whatever, and you are not drawing, please, your first page is still draw before you start spamming images. Draw a lot in the first section so that at least they'll see that you are serious before you start pasting. Don't just go to your page one and start pasting images, bro. They will not listen, and your logbook grade will be lower. Yeah, sorry, I'll add that.
Thank you
Can
so
I
much,
also
Franklin.
add?
Okay, please do. Please do.
Okay, so aside from just drawing alone, it's very important for you to label and give your diagrams titles as well. And it can be tricky too for those that are just doing software engineering. Say, for example, you went to a company and all you did was front end development, right? So in that case, adding to what Franklin said, maybe you can use block diagrams. It's very easy to use block diagrams basically or wireframes. Then you can attach screenshots, which is basically what I did on some pages. Screenshot what the work done, then maybe call the page out and use sellotape or gum into the page or something.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Toby. Okay, on to the next question. Okay. Okay. Yeah. You. I think it was it OKK that said Okay, now the question is, what if I am an elect student and I did my internship in a software company? How do I defend it? Of course, you said you would find a way, maneuver, but can you give us tips? Uh, any of our computer students can answer. I know because you did it at software companies. Can you give us tips on how we can go about it? Not, yes. What did you say when you were asked such kind of questions to defend your internship? What were the kind of questions you met, and how did you tackle? Thank you. Okay. Okay. Sorry, did anyone get the last question? I think I just internet went out. Okay, I'm going to ask it again. So the question is, I am an elect student and I did my internship in a software company. How do I defend it? Of course, I know our computer engineering students have brought this matter up, but the question now is, okay, if I am asked a question, how do I relate it with, like, what are the relevant courses? How am I going to defend it? Like, how am I going to, which of our courses can I use to defend the internship I've done? Let's say I've done back end, I've done front end. How do I defend it? So this is thrown open to Toby and
Okay.
Ebube.
Um, I I just remembered that there were situations like this during our defense as well. So, there were people that they are in elect, or they were in elect, and all they did in their company was front end, back end. And again, this also aligns with what we said earlier, which is, that's the career path they also wanted to take, right? And what, from what I saw, or what I can remember, he basically just talked about if it's just front end, just talk about the front end. If it's back end, talk about back end. And it may be possible that you won't be able to relate it to any um, elect specific course because obviously you can't. But at some point too in the past, elect student also did some software courses as well, like C++ and other things. So it can be very tricky. Uh, but that's just what I can remember from what happened then. Someone did it and he presented, and I won't lie, like I won't sugarcoat it. I think they also got roasted at some point as well because the panelists there were elect lecturers. So I think Franklin would have like more insight on this.
Okay. Franklin.
Yeah, Toby's last point is very crucial. If you are an electrical and you did your IT, you did front end, you did back end, you don't have any of that into it. You talk, they will listen to you. But when they ask you how you want to relate it and you say C plus plus, bro, there's not really much you can say to defend it. So you're going to get roasted, yes, like Toby said. And those that argue, don't try to make it turn into something else. Just nod your head and smile. Be a good boy or a good girl and go after the roast you. You won't fail. You still most likely get your A as well. Just don't mess things up yourself. Just keep trying to say your normal sequence clause. You can also, if you are smart enough and can defend it, you can mention logic gates and the likes.
Thank you so much, Toby. Thank you so much, Franklin. So the next question we go to Joshua. So now, I want to know, like, okay, now we're presenting our slides. Are we going to have to use our PC to present it, or are we going to send our slide to like general computer, and are we going to have the opportunity to make use of a projector?
Yeah, thank you very much. I it depends, but most of the presentations I've done in my panels, they don't like the too much movement. So they would basically say, you guys can actually do it yourself. So in my panel, they just someone just brought up his flash drive, said everyone should send their slides to that flash drive. Yeah. So everybody just put their slides on this flash drive. But for my project defense, it was per PC. So like everybody brought their PC. So like I said, it depends. But specifically for my SIWES defense, most of the time the lecturers like less movement, like they don't like to be distracted. So they just want you to put everything in the flash drive. You can do that beforehand, and then um, basically, and then for the projector, yeah, most likely they'll provide you with a projector, but then there can be unforeseen circumstances. Maybe there's no light, maybe something happened, it took light or something, so you might have to print. I didn't print because my panelist office, or sorry, my venue was kind of filled, so there was no um light issues. So just pray sure that that you have your projector. I think all the venues must have a projector officially. The problem is maybe if they took the light or the projector is not working, some of the lecturers might just give up and say, "Oh yeah, just continue or just start." You understand? It's difficult. So like it's just better you have a projector or just get them to it, let them figure it out. But most likely 90% of the time or more than that, they're going to have a projector to kind of help you just and to just talk about your slides. And then just to chip in something, please don't read your slide. This one, especially for those in Dr. Omoy's panel, don't read your slides. I think someone has already mentioned it, but I just want to stress that. So, and this is habitual. So most of the time, when we've been doing a presentation, we usually read our slides, just read the talking points. Don't read it, just try and talk about it, and then make sure that what you're talking about is related to what you're discussing. So yeah, so there will be projector most likely, except unforeseen circumstances, and then you're going to most likely put everything in the PC or on the flash drive, and then use one person's laptop. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Someone has their hand raised up. I would have preferred to say wait, but you can go ahead and ask your question. Aloud one.
Sorry, before you do that, I just want to say Patrick is back in the meeting, and Patrick, please feel free to also answer any questions as concerned. That's just what I want to say. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Aloud one, you can shoot.
Yeah. All right. Can anybody hear me?
You're loud and clear.
All right. So, my question is, it's not even about the presentation and the other things. I think there are some, I don't know, doing IT. Some people were like, they have to go to somewhere to get the documents, somewhere close to the state they are doing their IT, or probably close to their company, something like that. So I'm pretty confused there. That what kind of document are we collecting and what are we paying for something? Is there any payment, any procedures or something?
Okay, Olaoluwa. To my best of knowledge, I think the only document I've had to collect was our logbook and the 13 pages form, which we were told to fill some, our our industrial to fill some, and our institution will fill some. So those were the documents we're told to fill. Can you tell me which department you are from?
Biomedical engineering.
Biomedical engineering. Okay. So, okay, I don't know if any of our panelists know of such experience by chance.
Okay, sorry, what 13 pages document are you talking about?
Okay, okay. You visited Silpo, am I correct? So when you're getting your logbook, you will also be given some forms. For those forms, some you would have to submit. One you would have to submit at ITF. One you would have to return back to Silpo. Then there are some you would have to fill yourself. Your industry would also fill, and your institution. That is when you're getting your logbook. So it comes with your logbook.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, on to our next question. That will be for Patrick. So now, okay, we are ready. Let's say today's the day to present our
Sorry,
okay,
sorry, sorry.
okay,
Patrick just informed me now that his phone is almost dead. He joined the meeting before, but he just informed
okay,
me now that his phone is almost dead, so he's out of the meeting.
okay, okay. That's
Sorry,
great.
let me answer this one. I'm still here. Let me just answer this one.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so okay now, do we need multiple copies of our technical reports, or we just need a single one? Once we enter to defend, let's say we have five people in our panelist, do we need to make like five different copies, or one will be okay?
One would suffice. It's just for them to mark it. For us, our reports our reports were marked like on the spot. So depending on which panelist, they might like share the workload. Like let's say five per person. So yeah, it's just one copy. You just submit one.
Oh, thank you so much, Patrick. So one more question. One more question before we start.
Somebody asked on the messages that what should they include in the technical report?
Okay. Patrick can go ahead.
Okay, so usually a format like the general SIWES supervisor for your department would like give a format of how you should write your report. But generally, it's like okay, ours. Let me use ours for example. Most of us did 4 or 5 chapters, like standard report formats. The first chapter should contain like introduction, like introduction to SIWES and introduction to your company. That's just like very generic. Like most people's introduction to SIWES are always the same thing, just dub it, but just like make it personalize it to yourself. I know. So just like the first one is introduction to SIWES and introduction to your company. Like what do what's the company about? What they do? Is it a manufacturing company? Like like the nitty-gritties of the company. Then the second one should be summary of work experience. Then okay, mine I did another chapter for the part, but it varies. But those are the basic, like the basic structure. Then I did another chapter for departments, like departments I worked in. Then those ones will contain like the departments you worked in and the skills you gain in each of those departments. Then the conclusion, it's just basically like 4 or 5 chapters. Then the usual stuff, table of contents, list of figures, list of equations, and like the beginning parts. Like yeah, that's the basic structure.
Okay, thank you so much, Patrick. So I'll be asking one more question before we go to our question in the chat box, which Emily will be taking for us. So the next question will be: do we get to use a board and marker? Let's say I love explaining instead of just talking to my slide. I want to do one or two. I want to do one or two. Do we get to use a board and marker? I guess Franklin is laughing. Can you help us with that, Franklin?
No, you do
Okay.
not.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So okay. Allow. Okay. Okay. You can go ahead. Okay. Okay. Joshua, can go ahead.
Yes, just to add to what Francis said, please don't expose yourself. Don't come and form you want to show that you know what you did. Just take your 5 minutes because lecturers they they like to roast it so right. Even if you want it, even if you know that you did very well in your IT, please all your aim is to get your A and good. So don't expose yourself to say, okay, I want to show or explain that I did well or I know what I did. Just stay on your own and do what you say in your 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Franklin. Thank you so much, Joshua. So we'll be going to our questions in our chat box, and Emily will be helping us with it. Emily, over to you.
Thank, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So the first question is from Precious Olamide. Precious is a microbiology student, and she's asking that is it compulsory we add images, and how did you insert the images? I think this question is for Otto because she asked this when Otto was speaking. Is Otto here? Or any of the speakers that like has an idea?
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. You said, are you required? Images are kind of like they help explain things. For instance, let's assume I'm in electrical and I keep mentioning transformer, and there is, as an electric student, I'm in electrical engineering, and but I did my internship in power, like for my instance, my case, and there's a lecturer in my panel, and I keep mentioning a certain device, let's say a voltage regulator. Now I can just keep saying voltage regulator a lot of times, but let's say this lecturer is from computer and it's not really a power lecture, and or my supervisor is from computer, so they want to see what this looks like, right? Be whatever department you are in, this also applies. Most of the time, there are some things that you use or you do at work that cannot really be best described by words. Images are also like words, they help describe things you do. So, yes, in a way, they are kind of like compulsory to explain or break down things you use or do at work. How do you insert them? Yeah, to insert an image in, it's like, let's say I use Google Slides. You can also use like PowerPoint and stuff. So there are a lot of ways to insert images from, like there are, so sorry, from Google Slides you can insert an image. I think it's part of the toolkit or toolbox up. You can just watch a short YouTube video on whatever platform you want to use to build your slide. And yeah, that's how you insert images into your slides. I use Google Slides. At top there's insert. You just click on insert image and they're rolling.
Okay, thank you so much. Um, the next question is, what are the areas we can focus on for IT? I know there are things that differentiate computer science from computer engineering. So what are the areas we elect students or computer students can look to focus on when applying for SIWES?
Okay, I can say one or two things to that since I think the computer question. Um, like you said, it depends. So like it's not really about there are two major factors for computer engineering students. Number one is there are no like official placement companies for you. So like if you're an next student now, you know that okay, you want to go and work in a transmission company and stuff like that. For computer guys, it's a little bit different. And number two, like you said, it depends on what you want, what you're interested in. So if you're a developer or a software engineer or that kind of stuff, just know that it's computer science for you. So you're trying to look for a way to link it to computer engineering, right? So, but To be more specific, let me assume the person wants to do like actual computer engineering. Uh, so you mentioned working at Newport, right? So you might actually want to work at like 3D printing and like some hardware because if your supervisor is like Engineer Mohammed, for example, he's going to drill you on that. So he's going to tell you about difference between computer science, how, why, what you did, how is it not computer science, and how is it computer engineering. So basically, the difference is supposed to be hardware, low-level software. Those are the two major differences, right? So if you want to, if I'm assuming the person has not done the ICS, if you want to do actual computer engineering, you can apply to network to work in the maybe 3D software, 3D printing, or you can do some build like low-level software that is not like front end, back end, UI, UX, and stuff like that. But if you've already done and you just want to link it, you're looking for a way to link it. Well, like you said, for computer engineering, it's a little bit more, it's a little bit easier since you did programming, you did logic, you did, I think, I think yes, you did software engineering, you did ML and in school, so you can link it to those courses that you did. So, but like you can also, if you're going, then you can just say, okay, let me work in a 3D printing. The basic difference between science and engineering is basically the design. Um, it's supposed to be low level, like hardware and yeah, software, low level software. So yeah, those are the major differences that you're either going to apply for or looking for a way to tie your course. So yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. The second to the last question. Can someone work at multiple companies, like 3 months at one and 3 months at another?
Uh, okay. To the best of my ability, or to the best of my knowledge, rather, I don't think I know anyone that works at multiple places. You're supposed to do your IT at one place for 6 months. That's for the what they call it for engineering students. For science students, I believe they have 3 months program twice. So, but like for engineering, COS is supposed to be 6 months placement at a particular place, except something happens that is like drastic. So I think you're supposed to do it at one particular location. I don't know anyone that did it at one location. So if it's possible, I'm not sure.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
I asked the SIWES
Um,
coordinator back then this particular question, right? And what he told me was that if you are in a company already and you want to go work somewhere else, the contract is like, okay, you're supposed to work 6 months, and basically that's the what is in the letter you take to the company, right? And if you want to go work somewhere else, you might basically have to have an agreement within the company you're working on, but it might still look like, or it might still be official that you're working in the current company, but maybe they gave you a permission or something as your supervisor would to go work somewhere else. But that's a very tricky situation, and not all companies can do that for you, right? You basically just have to finish all your 6 months in one company, and also to avoid any unforeseen circumstances that come with it.
all right, thank you so much. This last question is a personal question to the elect speakers. What do you have like? What would you say about someone working in an electrical design company? Like they deal with everything electrical but design. So like using AutoCAD and everything, but not like the going to sites kind of thing.
Uh, if anyone wants to say anything, but let me just go ahead and say, I think that's really awesome. These are good opportunities. However, do you like it? Does the person like it? Are you interested in that? If you really enjoy doing that, then sure, go for it. It's really awesome. I think it's a fantastic idea.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. We really appreciate. Thanks for your time and all. So we're going to take about 2 to 3 minutes to talk about IEEE and SIS to the students. So before we wrap up, I want to quickly talk to you all about IEEE. IEEE is the Institute for Electrical and Electronics Engineers. And if you've not heard about IEEE, you're actually definitely missing out because it is the world's largest organization for tech, innovation, and power, basically. And being part of IEEE as a student is more like having a backstage pass to Rema's concerts, basically. So we host workshops, we host hackathons, conferences, and events around the world. And the best part is that you get to connect with people from all over the world who are passionate about technology, just like you and I. So it's open to every department that has to do with STEM. So systems, electrical, science, mathematics, physics. So if you're into tech, innovation, and you just want to level up, you should definitely consider joining us. You can reach out to me, Emily, or on group chats, Chisballs, for more information. I don't know if Sumi is here. Sumi, can you speak? Okay, if Sumi cannot speak, tell me Tokwe, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. My name is Temitope Jinadu. You probably know me as Midi. Thank you, Emily, for passing it on. The Vice President of SIWES, and I just want to let you guys know that I'm glad to be here, and I've been learning a lot from the IT and SIWES orientation, even though I've not gone for my IT yet. So I'd just like you guys to know that SIWES has a lot in store for you guys. You can always reach out to Sumi, the president, or me, the vice president, or Abubakar, the general secretary, or any of the ESCOs, be it the welfare or the PRO, will always be at your service. This IT and CWES defense orientation is basically brought to you by SIS in conjunction with IEEE. So we are trying to join forces together to make our department better. And I hope you really learned from this session, and we'll also continue to come up with better sessions and better initiatives to move our department forward. I promise you that. Thank you very much, everybody.
And just like that, we are at the end of today's session. Huge thanks to our speakers, panelists, and of course, all of you for being an amazing audience. I hope you have picked up some great tips and you're actually very, very prepared to face those lecturers. Because I cannot face a boy, but then. So I'm trying to say this is not goodbye, though, because we have more events lined up. So stay connected with SIWES and IEEE. Do have a great day. I'm Anya Esther Favor, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Good night.
Okay, thank you so much, Emily. Before we go, I hope some of our speakers are still here. Is it going to be okay? Is it okay for any of us to reach out to you as regards the information you have given to us? Are you okay with us reaching out to you? And what's the best means of communication to reach out to you? Okay, Franklin, Toby. Okay, Franklin said WhatsApp. So in case you want to reach out to Franklin, the best means of communication will be WhatsApp. Thank you so much, Franklin.
Yeah, you can reach out to me as well on WhatsApp. I'll try my best to reply as early as possible. But I'll be mostly, active during the weekend.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Okay, someone said no item 7. Everything is there, item 7. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Okay, see WhatsApp too. Okay, see WhatsApp too. Okay. Thank you so much.
Good night, guys. See you. Mwah.
Thank you to all our speakers. So we really appreciate it. We'll still send personalized thank you later. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for joining in too.
Okay, Otto just joined right now. So Otto, what would be the best means of communication to get across to you? WhatsApp,
phone
phone
call,
call,
email.
email,
If we have
if we
any
have
more
any more
questions.
questions.
Can Otto answer? Otto is seriously facing network issues. He has been complaining in my DM, but it's fine. I think we should just end the meeting now and just move on. We'll probably contact them via their WhatsApp platforms later. Sure.